Hello everybody and welcome to the new video room. It's not done yet, it's still a mess off camera. I've got a pile here, empty paint buckets over here, unfinished wall over there. All these wires are going to get hidden. It's a mess right now. But I just put these shelves up, so it's all coming together. We're going to have a nice, cool backdrop. Very fresh, very new. As you can see from the title, this video is very important. I like to do this every year, just kind of take a step back and look at the channel, analyze the year, see what worked, see what didn't work, see where we're going to go from here, the path forward. And I'm treating the way forward as a soft reboot, for lack of a better word. No, it's not going to be a completely different channel. I'm not going to turn into one of those drama channels that report YouTuber news. It's not going to be a hot tub stream channel. Or is it? By soft reboot, I mean kind of like what Chronica was trying to do in Mortal Kombat 11. You know, create a whole new era. This is going to be a whole new era, a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of organizing my channel and how I do my content. A lot of you wrote in questions to me, and I got a whole notebook here where I wrote down some of them. And honestly, many of these questions are things that naturally I'm already going to be covering here today. To start, let's look at this year's numbers compared to about the same time last year. We had about 54 channel members. Right now, at the time of this video, we have 66. I also had just over 71,000 subs. Now we have over 73,000. On paper, most people would look at that and say, okay, cool, channel's growing. And that is true, but by my standards and where I want to be at this point in time, that growth is extremely slow. Like snail's pace. And I think I've identified a couple reasons why. This year, as many of you have been following, I've been chronicling the story of Metroid, and I've been completely focused on that big project, not wanting to do anything big until that was done. And that was by design. This year I wanted to focus on one big project at a time, and I think that had some unintended consequences. I think you guys got kind of bored, and so did I. And the numbers support that theory. As of the making of this video, the first chapter of the Metroid story had 60,000 views, very strong start. Chapter 2, 28,000. Chapter 3, 23,000. Chapter 4, 15,000. I mean, you could see the trend here. Chapter 5, 19,000. 6, 16K. 7, 7K. 8 had 8.5K. And 9, which covers Super Metroid, one of the best, one of the most highly regarded Metroid games of all time, only 6,000 views. This tells me one thing: too much Metroid all at once and not enough of other things. And many of you constantly been asking me, where's part 10? When's part 10 coming? It's coming, and I'll get to that. I'll get to when. Here's what happened. I've been working on chapter 10 of the Metroid story. And while I was working on it, I just kept thinking about all these other things I wanted to cover, but I would kind of not allow myself to until that was done. And about halfway through as I'm finishing it, I was just like, I don't want to do this right now. I want to do something else. And then I realized I got to change the way I do things up. I have to. Working on the same thing consecutively, you get bored. And it also hit me, I've never taken a break. And then it hit me that I've never taken a break since I started the channel. I have never taken a step back from making content or thinking about content or planning content or writing script for content or editing content. There's always something I've been doing. I've never taken a break. Against the advice I give content creators all the time, breaks are important. And those of you with full-time day jobs, a lot of times they have 1 to 2 week paid vacations a year. And it's something very important as a content creator to take a break every once in a while so you don't burn out, so you don't get bored. So I did it. This holiday season, I decided to take a break. Just to step away, take a breather, pick the grind back up in January with a fresh, new plan for the channel. For the rest of the year, I'm just going to do the live streams. I'll be playing with my kids, playing video games just for fun. Anything except spending hours glued to my computer, scripting and editing and planning. And I think it's going to be good for me. I think it's going to be good for the channel. And I think you guys are going to get a better result out of it in the end. And the time away has given me a fresh outlook. And I've got a little notebook here filled with notes so I don't forget the points that I'm going to cover. The plan forward is the opposite of what I did this year. Instead of focusing on just one project, mainly, and putting all my energy into that until it's done, I'll be working on multiple projects simultaneously, but break them apart into smaller chunks. And not necessarily consecutively either. No more imaginary due dates, no more imaginary deadlines. That as a content creator, it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to not work on some imaginary due date of your own creation. In fact, I want to treat all my content like my Mortal Kombat Timeline series. I learned a lot by working on that. And I want to treat everything that way, as in, it's done when it's done. Let's just throw an example out there. Let's say in January, maybe I'll do Metroid Timeline Part 10. The following week, maybe a game review, and then a movie review, and then maybe Silent Hill Part 1. And then maybe a month and a half later, I'll come back to Metroid and put out Chapter 11. A variety of different content for the channel, which is what I've always envisioned for the channel to be. Kind of a grab bag of different high-quality content. With the idea that any viewer could just come to the channel, and there's always something new to watch. Not necessarily something that's part of a series that's been going on for like a year. There's always something else and you don't know quite what to expect. With these videos I do that are part of a kind of a long-running series of videos, the idea was never to gun it to the finish line. It's about just having a steady flow of different type of videos and constantly adding new things too. And that's important because channels that stay the same die out very quickly. Video game reviews, including new video games, retro video games, and somewhere in between, movie reviews, those are all coming back full force. Previously, I had really slowed down on putting those out to the point where I actually stopped making them for a while completely. If we look at the numbers, it was easily the lowest viewed content, movie reviews and game reviews. I don't even care anymore. The most I can ask for you to do is to watch everything I put out. I'm going to make those again. I like doing them, and we're going to have a lot of fun with them moving forward. And maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to grow an audience there too. We're going to bring back what worked in the past. We're even going to bring back what didn't work in the past to see if we can make it work in the present. Let me give you a small sneak peek at some of the content I've planned while I've been away here. And this is all planned for early next year. As a reminder, of course, like I said, no due dates, no deadlines. It's out when it's out. Of course, there's Metroid Part 10. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to work on out of the gate, because it's been a little while, and I do want to finish that. The next Mortal Kombat character video is Shiva, the four-armed Shokan Queen. And these character videos, I'll be putting them up for a vote regularly from now on in the community tab. It's a lot of fun doing that, seeing what characters people are most interested in. That just gives me a blueprint of what characters I should include in the next poll. The classic Spider-Man game back on Nintendo 64, PS1, and Dreamcast. I'll be reviewing the Dreamcast version specifically, because graphically it is the superior one, but it's the same game. This is going to get reviewed. I'm really excited about that, as well as the original old school Frankenstein movie. That's been on my bucket list for a while, but again, I've not been doing these because barely I'm going to watch them, but we're just going to do it. And one of the series I'm most excited about, I'm going to be starting to cover the Twisted Metal series, beginning with Mr. Grimm. That about covers the updates for the video content. And before I forget, as far as the channel itself, I'm going to trim the fat a little bit. The merch store on Spring, I'm closing it completely. Nobody ever buys from it. Rarely. I really don't promote it very much. It's just another thing to keep track of in the sea of a million things to keep track of as a content creator. If you would like to support the channel financially, there's channel memberships, there's Patreon, there's super chats and donations during live streams, there's super thanks and video comments. That's more than enough. I don't need a store. Now, the other big part of the channel, the live streams, which is quite possibly my favorite thing that I do on the channel. There will be fairly large changes on there as well. What I think will be very good changes that honor the creed of variety and audience participation. One big downside to streaming that is a reality of YouTube is that streaming on its own, it really doesn't grow a channel. It doesn't really attract new viewership in large numbers. Videos do that. And that's always advice I give to content creators trying to grow. You got to do something more than just stream. You got to create video content if you want to grow. At a decent pace, at least. Having said that, I need more time to make videos. Currently, I stream 3 times a week, and honestly, it's too much. When I take everything else I want to create into the mix too, that middle of the week portion's very disruptive for me. And as a viewer, it's easy to just see a live streamer and be like, oh, it's easy, you just hit go live and you're good to go. But what you don't see in the background is all the work it takes behind the scenes to keep the streams going consecutively 3 days a week. The planning, the thumbnails, all the little graphics on the stream and video intros, and then the timestamps after the video's public. It's a lot of work, especially when that's not the only thing you do on a channel. Here's the changes for live streaming. Moving forward, streaming is twice a week. Monday, Friday. Same time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Really what I'm doing is cutting Wednesday out. And that's effective pretty much immediately starting next week. Monday, Friday. Unless otherwise noted, some weeks, I don't know, I may have whatever going on and I might switch it to like a Tuesday or something. Monday, Friday, 7 p.m. Mondays, we're going to do like we used to do. They're going to be more focused on retro titles / backlog games and somewhat more retro titles. Friday will be kind of more of a random grab bag of content. It could be really anything. A lot of times it'll be newer stuff that's in my backlog, non-retro related for the most part. And again, these aren't black and white rules. It's just, in general, what it's going to look like. Now, this is for channel members. I've been thinking on how to do the channel member voting more consistent, instead of doing it like once and then I won't do it again for like a month. So on Mondays, channel members exclusively are going to vote for every other game that we play on Mondays. For example, they just recently voted for Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku. Once we finish that, the next game will be something I pick that's in the same kind of retro category. And then I'll put a vote for the following game and you guys decide. Now, keeping with the idea of variety, we do have a problem. A problem that I've been going crazy trying to solve mentally. And I have a solution. What about these really absurdly long games that we get into sometimes? Like God of War Ragnarok. Great game, long as hell. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I don't even know how many streams that'll take. How do I stream a long game like that week after week after week and people not get bored and just tune out? Here's what we're going to do. When I'm streaming a game that takes a lot of parts, I'm going to alternate. I'm even thinking of alternating every game on Friday that requires more than one part. I'm still on the fence about that, but there's going to be some alternating going on. So, for example, let's say we start Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We're going to do that on Friday, and the next week we'll play Killzone 2, stream number 1. And then the following week after that, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, stream number 2. Then the following week after that, maybe we'll finish Killzone 2. And then the week after that, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, stream 3. And then after that, plumbers don't wear ties. I don't know. You get what I mean, though. Really long games that are just going to keep going and going and going forever, it seems. But there's going to be stuff in between to keep everything fresh. For example, someone that doesn't really care about Assassin's Creed at all, but likes to come hang out on the streams, if they decide to skip out on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they can come back the following week and enjoy whatever I'm doing. I think that's going to be a really good solution to the absurdly long game problem. Hopefully that makes sense. I think these changes are going to be awesome. And I feel an excitement about the future of the channel that I haven't felt in a long time. This year, yeah, it felt very, it just felt like I was checking things off the list that I needed to get done. Although, don't get me wrong, I've really enjoyed putting together the Metroid storyline. I still do. But there's other stuff I want to do also, you know? And sometimes I would be doing the Metroid timeline videos just because I felt that I had to get it done when really I wanted to talk about like Street Fighter or something. So yeah, that's how this year's going to go. I'm just going to do whatever. And I'd love to hear your thoughts below. What do you guys think of all these changes? I'd appreciate to hear any input you guys might have. And I almost forgot. I was going to talk about new releases. New release games. With new release games, usually the schedule kind of changes around when a new release game comes out and kind of takes over the streams. We're not going to do that anymore. For the most part, with new release games, a lot of those I think are going to be better off as reviews. Dead Space I'll be doing in January just because I've been promising that forever. We're definitely going to do that one. In reality, the internet's got a really short memory when it comes to these new games. People get bored of them real quick. Games come out and then no one's talking about them a week later. I've noticed that a lot with new releases. And regular viewers on the channel oftentimes don't even tune in for these new releases because they're trying to avoid spoilers, which I completely understand that. So new releases, they're going to be case by case. Otherwise, that about covers my end of the year stuff. I'll see you all on the streams and in the new year of 2023. Stay safe out there and enjoy the rest of this year. I'll catch you guys then.